Yes, you, watching this video. Do you want to own a piece of Scribbler? Only not a lock of hair or blood or flesh or anything else that will get you in trouble with the law? Well, now you can, with t-shirts, hoodies, tote bags and mugs featuring Obab Scribbler at her Teespring store. You know you want to. I shall now stop talking in third person and send you on to the video. Be lovely to each other and enjoy the show. Fluttershy wasn't sure what was going on. She was in a daze. All she knew was that 1, her wrist was bleeding profusely, 2, there was blood all over the floor, and 3, she left a trail of blood as she fled, a trail that led straight to her cottage. She bolted her door, ran upstairs, hid under her bed, and tried to think of how it all began as the others started pounding on her door, moaning her name. It was a sunny afternoon in Ponyville. Fluttershy had just finished watering her plants and was about to tend to the birds about her cottage when she noticed that her current bag of birdseed had run out. She walked into the cottage and opened her cabinet of stocked birdseed when Angel ran into the room holding an envelope.
Hello, Angel Bunny.
Fluttershy smiled.
What's that you have there?
Angel waved the envelope in the air turbulently before handing it to Fluttershy, then pointed vigorously out the door.
It's urgent? Let's see here.
She turned over the letter and saw it adorned with a quill and parchment. Urgent was stamped on the face of the envelope in block red letters.
It's from Town Hall. Does the mayor need me for something? I guess I should read it and find out.
Fluttershy moved her hoof to open the letter, but promptly withdrew it.
Oh, but what if I can't do what she wants? What if I'm not good enough? What if...
Angel repeatedly stomped on her hoof and shot her an angry glare.
Oh, yes, the letter.
She opened the envelope, retrieved the letter from within, and sat down as she cleared her throat.
It looks like...
Her hoof slipped as she read, causing her to drop the letter. As it fell, its sharp edge came across Fluttershy's wrist. A small laceration appeared, followed by a bead of red, which itself was followed by several more.
Oh dear. I should probably...
A sudden gust of wind burst in through the open door, snatching the letter and blowing it about the room before carrying it out a window.
Oh my.
She sighed. As she began to walk out the door to pursue the letter, Angel pulled hard on her tail and pointed at her bleeding hoof, looking at her with concern.
Don't worry your little head about it. It should heal in no time at all.
Fluttershy whimpered to herself in the dark. She peeked out from under the bed, looking around her moonlit room for a bucket to hold her blood as the thumping on the door continued.
Fluttershy!
Howled a voice from outside. Fluttershy squeaked and retreated to under her bed. She started to weep as bright red pooled around her hoof.
Oh, Angel Bunny, if only you were still here.
Fluttershy sighed as she walked down Lasso Avenue. She had finally found the letter after chasing it about town, only for it to land in a puddle, causing its ink to run.
What if the mayor needed some animal records from me for something important?
She pondered.
Or what if some animal was in danger? Oh no, I'd better hurry.
As she picked up her pace, she saw Twilight sparkle and Rainbow Dash further down the road.
So, if I'm correct, it'll produce a lot more rain while still retaining most of its water.
Twilight looked through an open book on the ground. She turned her head upwards.
Are you ready with the cloud?
Yup.
Rainbow Dash floated in the air and held a rain cloud between her hooves.
Go for it!
Twilight concentrated, and her horn started to glow. More rain started to fall from the cloud. Then some more, and some more, and then even more. Soon the cloud was releasing a waterfall, creating a deluge that spilled out onto the neighbouring stalls, neighbouring houses, and neighbours. Fluttershy winced as the pool reached and inundated her wrist, causing her to take to the air. She drifted closer to her friends. Twilight chuckled.
Well, what do you think?
Rainbow Dash looked at Twilight with a deadpan expression, then glanced at Carrot Top's now flooded produce stand next to a frantic Carrot Top trying to recover her drifting vegetables, then looked back at Twilight. She shook her head disapprovingly.
Too much then?
Asked Twilight as a carrot floated past her. Fluttershy flew up to Twilight from behind.
Well, I guess we could try it again with...
Oh my.
Caught by surprise, Twilight panicked and fired off the spell she used on the cloud again with no particular target, affecting everything nearby. The cloud rained even harder as water began to pour out of its sides. Nearby fruits and vegetables exploded and caused a juicier mess than they would ever have without magic. And Fluttershy's paper cut, not yet fully healed, started gushing a red torrent of its own.
Twilight's spell did this to me,
said Fluttershy as she crawled across the floor to a bucket on the other side of the room.
It should wear off eventually, but...
She sighed.
It's too late.
Fluttershy grabbed the bucket, but as she returned to her bed, the silhouette of a Pegasus pony appeared in a window. Fluttershy's jaw fell, causing her bucket to hit the floor with a dull thud and a wet splash.
Rainbow Dash? Not you too?
The blood-covered Pegasus pony, with feathers, tail and mane ruffled and patches of coat missing, slowly floated higher and came between the window and the moon, casting an all-enveloping shadow on the room. As she rapped on the window with a ragged hoof, Fluttershy backed into a corner.
Come out, Fluttershy!
Screeched Rainbow Dash, or at least what was left of her, as she began to pound on the window. Rainbow Dash, soaked from the cloud raining in all directions, pushed her wet, flopping mane out of her eyes.
Fluttershy! Don't sneak up on us like...
She saw the growing pool of red in the previously clear pond, and her pupils constricted.
Whoa!
Twilight wiped the remnants of an apple off her face and shook herself off, splashing Rainbow Dash's shocked, unchanging face.
Rainbow Dash? What's the matter?
She saw Fluttershy floating in the air with her hoof gushing blood.
Fluttershy, what?
Whoa.
A moment passed in silence as the pond turned red and Fluttershy watched unexploded produce float by, until Twilight finally said,
Fluttershy, we need to get you to the hospital.
Fluttershy was initially shocked by the fountain of blood her wrist had suddenly become, but then she remembered what Twilight said. The cloud would retain most of its water while raining more than it actually held. Seeing that the cloud was the same size as it was before, she figured that her hoof would be the same.
Oh, no. I'm sure it's,
She raised her hoof to get a better look at it, only for it to splash her in the face.
I'm sure it's fine,
she said as she wiped blood out of her eyes.
It's only a paper cut after all. Besides, I have, urgent business to attend to.
She explained her rationalization to the two ponies. She turned and started to float off, but Rainbow Dash cut off her path.
No way, Fluttershy! We're getting you to a hospital! Like, now!
Fluttershy squeaked and flew off towards City Hall, having to evade Rainbow Dash's repeated attempts to retrieve her, which in turn caused her to splash her blood all over the town's roads, rooftops, and citizen, including Twilight, who followed the Pegasus ponies from below.
Get back here! The more you move around like that, the more you're going to bleed!
Shouted Rainbow Dash. She caught up to Fluttershy and grabbed her tail.
Gotcha!
She shouted through her clenched teeth. Letting the worst of her imagination get to her, Fluttershy said,
I'm really sorry to do this, Rainbow Dash, but there might be animals that really need my help right now.
Fluttershy then raised her torrentially bleeding hoof to splash Rainbow Dash in the face, much to her shock, dismay, and disgust of onlookers below as the blood came raining down upon them. Rainbow Dash was stunned, causing her to weaken her grip and allowing Fluttershy to fly off.
Don't worry about me, Rainbow Dash. I'll be fine.
Tears continued to flow down Fluttershy's cheeks as she stared Rainbow Dash in her bloodshot eyes. I'm sorry, she thought. Please go away. Please go away. I'm sorry. Her heart raced. She knew it was horrible of her to think that of a dear friend, but as Rainbow Dash kept trying to open her window, it was all she could think of. To Fluttershy's relief, Rainbow Dash floated away from the window. To her horror, Rainbow Dash immediately appeared again in the next window and pounded on that for a bit as well. To both her relief and horror, the thumping below stopped, and Rainbow Dash floated downwards. Anxious yet hopeful, Fluttershy edged closer to the window and peeked below. The ponies at her door, along with several animals that accompanied them, were slowly backing away from her cottage. Fluttershy sighed in relief, thinking all would soon be well, until the horde below charged her door. With Twilight and Rainbow Dash out of sight, Fluttershy entered Town Hall and proceeded to the mayor's office. She lightly tapped her uninjured hoof against the office door. Fluttershy walked up to the mayor's desk, and the trail of blood followed. The mayor was busy with legislation, scribbling her signatures on papers in one pile while stamping papers in another.
Oh, one of these days I'm going to get neck strain. My coverage had better.
The mayor glanced up from her papers.
Oh, Fluttershy. Just the pony I wanted to see. Did you bring the records I requested?
Records?
Asked Fluttershy as blood pooled underneath her.
No, you see, I lost your letter before I could read it. It said urgent on it, so I came over as fast as I could.
Is that so?
Replied the mayor as she resumed her paperwork with pen in mouth and stamp in hoof.
Well, that's unfortunate. But now that you're here, I can tell you in person. I need the results of the annual bunny census for this somewhat unpopular piece of legislation and...
Fluttershy!
The mayor was interrupted by Rainbow Dash, who crashed the office window, seizing Fluttershy's and the mayor's attentions. Rainbow Dash was missing clumps of fur all over her body.
Fluttershy!
What's going on here?
Get out here!
Shouted Rainbow Dash from behind the glass as she peeled herself off the window. Fluttershy took a few steps back.
Rainbow Dash?
Asked the mayor incredulously.
Is she actually turning in her report on time for once? Goodness, what happened to you?
Twilight Sparkle burst into the room, out of breath and covered in blood from head to tail.
Fluttershy, we need to get you to the hospital. Even if most of the blood is from the spell, a lot of it is still yours.
Blood? Can some pony tell me what is going...
The mayor turned around to the two other ponies. She shrieked.
Fluttershy, your hoof! Twilight Sparkle, you're everything!
She looked a little further over and saw her previously beige rug now stained a solid red, and shrieked again.
My rug! My beautiful rug!
Yeah! I had to shave off clumps of fur because I was stained in your blood.
I don't mind as much. But, the many ponies below you as you flew over here sort of do. A lot.
Joined in Twilight Sparkle. She turned toward Rainbow Dash.
You do know that blood doesn't stain fur, right?
Seriously?
Yes, Rainbow Dash, seriously. They make soaps for this, you know? Anyways, Fluttershy?
Yes, Twilight?
I would have come here sooner if Rainbow Dash didn't crash into a building after you...
Twilight stood for a moment with a disgusted look on her face, then shook herself out of it.
After you blinded Rainbow Dash. And after I helped her up, she went off to find scissors. But I came straight here to warn you that the ponies you splashed on your way here are...
Right here!
Shouted a mob of ponies from beyond the door. Assembled were an assortment of ponies, all splattered in one way or another with red.
I had to throw out all my groceries!
Shouted one pony.
I had to throw out my entire stock.
Shrieked another.
She painted my roof.
Yelled a third.
She stained my dress!
She ruined my furniture.
I like painting the town red as much as the next pony, but this is ridiculous.
Twilight Sparkle bowed her head.
Sorry, Fluttershy. It looks like I was too late.
She crossed her forelegs.
So, you should probably run.
And run Fluttershy did, all the way back to her cottage, leaving the trail of blood behind her.
Heave!
Shouted the ponies below. They, joined by many bunnies and squirrels, ran their collective body against the door. Again!
Oh no!
Whispered Fluttershy.
They've woken up all the animals. Maybe I should let them in.
She heard a loud crash below, louder than the vindictive mob's previous attempts to break in. She squeaked again and backed away as she watched the ponies stream up the stairs into her room.
There she is!
Screamed a mobber.
Get her!
Screamed another. As they closed in on her, Fluttershy fainted. Fluttershy awoke in a white room to bright sunlight through a window and the sound of mechanical beeping. She lay in a bed with several tubes and wires attached to her foreleg. Several cabinets lined the walls.
Where? Hello? Is any pony there?
Twilight Sparkle came through the door, followed by Rainbow Dash, Rarity, Applejack, and Pinkie Pie.
Hey, Fluttershy. How are you holding up? When I said run, I meant to the hospital, not home.
Where am I? Is this the hospital? Yeah!
Said Pinkie Pie.
There was this angry mob, and when they tried to drag you out, you fainted! Fainted?
Yes, Fluttershy. With all that blood you lost, you fainted,
replied Rarity.
It's amazing how you managed to stay conscious for as long as you did.
You have a pretty rare blood type. Luckily for you, the spell didn't wear off until long after you were brought in. The nurses managed to collect a lot of your blood and, put it back in you.
Twilight smiled uneasily. Fluttershy looked down at her hoof.
It healed already?
Well, yeah.
Joined in Applejack.
You only had a paper cut. What'd you expect? Oh, if you're worried about the Mare, Angel Bunny gave her some papers and she looked pretty pleased about it.
Looks like you're all better now, huh?
Asked a still mottled Rainbow Dash.
Once you get out of here, you can help me clean up the mess you made.
Mess? But Oh my. That means...
That you have to take responsibility for your actions.
Me and some other weather ponies cleaned up a chunk of your mess, but...
Rainbow Dash held up a bucket of paint.
Some stains just don't wash out easy.
Fluttershy bit her lip.
Here.
Twilight gave Fluttershy an envelope with the mayor's quill and parchment cutie mark on it.
The mayor worked out a schedule for you to help clean up this mess.
Fluttershy tore it open. She read her new itinerary.
Oh, I see.
She looked at Twilight.
This is a lot of time away from the house. Who will take care of my animal friends if I'm gone?
Spike will. He volunteered to right after he heard about what happened to you.
Twilight replied with a smile. She rubbed her chin with a hoof and looked away.
He also mentioned something about a score to settle, but I wouldn't worry too much about him. He's very capable, you know.
Fluttershy started to get up.
But...
No buts.
Rarity pushed Fluttershy back down.
For now, you need your rest.
She and the other 4 ponies started to leave. She shut the door behind them. Fluttershy sighed and resumed reading her schedule in the warm morning light.
Let's see. Tomorrow I'll be painting the houses of Stirrup Street from 3 to...
Her hoof slipped, causing her to drop the schedule. As it fell, its sharp edge came across her wrist. She sighed again.
Oh dear.